morning, everybody. Week 4, we've covered a lot of information in just a short amount of time. We could probably do another 4 weeks and really, go deeper in all the nuances. But I'm hoping people are seeing some activity or starting to notice things a little bit different about LinkedIn, or at least, creating that daily habit when it comes to your birthdays and your job changes and work anniversaries. So everything kind of builds from the profile. Good indicator for you if you've been spending time on your profile is that you should be getting more views, right? So you should check every week and kind of see, is that number going up? Is it staying the same? But I don't believe it'll be going down. And today is really the final piece, which is important, but it's kind of separate. So we're going to get more into that quote unquote social media space where we're going to be, targeting our posts, writing articles, and really engaging in LinkedIn. So some people take the stance of just outbound business development on LinkedIn, finding your search parameters, connecting, creating, appointments. But there's other people that like to also mix in, the posting and, putting content out there. And really, the easiest way to break it down is if you know how to operate on Facebook, there's no difference in migrating over to LinkedIn and doing the same thing when it comes to your posts. So if you're posting on Facebook, it should be an automatic repost over onto LinkedIn. So we'll get into some of those strategies. But before we get into, a deeper dive on the, creating your marketing strategy, does anybody have any burning questions or, needs clarification on anything, or does anyone have any success stories just within the short time we've been going through this course? Does anyone, can say there's a direct result from my efforts on LinkedIn? I'm just curious if anyone is seeing those, seeing those results.
I'm getting a lot of requests to connect, which I hadn't done before, where I wasn't receiving. So, and I haven't put as much time into it as I want to. I will, but just in this little bit of changing the profile and liking and posting as I can, I'm getting more views and more requests. So it's working.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's great to hear. Thank you for sharing that. Because again, I think the biggest thing in real estate is, when people have the need, who is it that they think of first? And it's usually because that person has had more visibility or they're always circling. So, we want to make sure we're constantly letting people know we're active, we're involved. So you may not have, let's say you may not have an active listing right now, but maybe your company has active listings that you can share. So always, start posting, new listing, new on market, and escrow. So people do like those posts, but you also want to mix it up, right? So create, like, when you're posting, some type of schedule. So some people like to theme, right? So it all depends on your personality. How much time do you want to spend on LinkedIn? You could spend every day with a theme, twice a week. For example, you could do a motivational Monday. That's very popular. It doesn't require a lot of thought, where you can take a motivational quote and then put your branding logo over it as the agent, and you're just sharing, positive information out there. So if you don't want to get, too complex, motivational Monday. Some people will do, like a theme on Thursday, a workout Wednesday, right? Or a nutrition tip. So it doesn't always have to be real estate, real estate, real estate. You probably want to go real estate, quote, personal information, or an event or something, or a picture. And then maybe, like, here's a tip, like a spring cleaning tip, right? Or people love the 5 reasons and the 3 tricks to do such and such. So I think someone just recently posted, house cleaning, tricks or hacks or things like that. So, what to do when you're relocating, the 5 reasons you need a realtor. So really, that content, I know for sure, is available to everybody out there with all the different companies and collateral that we have. So just start repurposing. So what I guess I'm trying to say is, don't worry about creating original content all the time. Original content could be in an article, which we're going to talk about, but otherwise, repurpose what's out there. So, if your company is putting out information, so like Rock Title, for example, we'll click on Rock Title. So Rock's most recent post was National Spring Cleaning Week, right? So they've done the work for us. Of course, I'm sure it's probably branded here, but regardless, you could, if you're at Rock, you could take this post, right? Click on the 3 dots and then copy the link. And then you would go back here and then you would start a post. And then I would hit paste. It's going to load the actual post. Right, there's spring cleaning. Now I didn't have to do too much, but I'm going to put my stamp on it and say, here are some great tips. Great tips. And I would go ahead and post that. But what I did was I didn't share. A lot of people will just see something in their feed and they'll click the share button. What I did was I copied the link and I created a post and I added my own little stamp on it. So it looks like I created the content, even though it says, you know, rock title. So I'm not going to post that. But here's Sean. He created a post, right? I could click the share button, but all I'm doing is resharing. And that doesn't really look like I did any effort because I didn't. So if I really like this article, I would want to click on the article and then grab the link and then reshare it and say, here's a great article I found, right? 10 ways to prevent water damage in your home. So I would grab the link instead of resharing. So always create a repost rather than a share. So the share is here. And as we said, you know, since I'm here, I might as well go ahead and like it and say, thanks for the tips. So now Sean just heard from me twice. He got 2 notifications. We had talked about that earlier in the week, but again, I want to put it into actual practice because I want to leverage your time on LinkedIn. If you're posting, take advantage of liking and commenting as well. So when it comes to posting, you're going to be in your home where it says start a post. And that's where you can, you know, create original content. Some of you may want to write an article. Now, an article is much better than a post because an article stays and it gets indexed with your profile. It's considered a publication on LinkedIn, and it's also considered educational. So if I post something, that's going to go away over time, right? But if I write an article, that article is going to be anchored to my profile with those keywords as an expert on a particular subject matter. So if you're writing a blog or your company has a blog, you can turn that blog into an article simply by going to your homepage and click write article. And I believe I have that set here. So when you have write article, I would just go ahead and grab the article and paste it, put a headline, put a background image. Now, you can also save drafts. So if you're one of those people that like to front load everything, there's 52 weeks, right? So if you had 52 blog articles and maybe they were from years ago, but the content hasn't changed, you can repurpose and recycle that content as an article on LinkedIn. So really go back into your archives and your vaults and see what you've done in the past and then repurpose it. So what you'll do is you'll write your article. I'll put in test, right? Tests. And then I'm not going to do anything. Then I'm going to go right back to the home page, right? And then I'm going to feel like, where's my article? How do I publish it, right? The only way to find your article again is to click write an article. So if you're wondering what happened to that draft that I created, where did it go? You see the publishing menu here? I'm going to go to my drafts and see how it says test, right? So there's my article. And I'm going to edit it. And then I'm going to go ahead and, you know, rewrite the article, and then I would publish it. But it always is hidden under this publishing menu. You can have my current articles, my drafts, or I just want to start a new article right from here. And you have the bells and whistles as you do in a Word document. So you can really just cut and paste and do some editing. The cool thing is I can embed video or images in my article. So if you have an article about the 5 tips, but there's also a video, you can embed that here, and that can direct traffic to your website as well. Throw in some hashtags, and then we have a really great article. But again, really look at what's already been done. You know, let's not reinvent the wheel when it comes to, you know, creating content. So we'll go back to LinkedIn. We're going to always end up in the home page, but it's right here. Start a post. You can embed, you know, you can create events on LinkedIn too, right? So maybe you have an open house and you want to go ahead and create an event. You can create that event right here. And once that loads, so you can put a picture in the background of the property, right? And then you, the agent, right here, and here is the event would be, you know, from me, the details, open house, right? And then you can put in, you know, the link if there's a landing page. So this is a great way to broadcast an open house as an event, because a lot of people will just post open house, right? And again, I know with COVID, maybe that's depending on what state you're in, you may not be actually doing, but you can put in virtual open house, right? And here's the event is a Zoom meeting, or you have a mastermind group and you want to put that on there. Even like we did for, you know, for this event in particular, we can create events on LinkedIn. So you can do it on Facebook, you can send email marketing, but why not cover all your bases and go ahead and put it in here? So in case you can't find it, it's under events. And there's another thing you can do too. So you can go to my network. And once that loads, you're going to see on the left-hand column that there's an events as well, right? So you can get there through my network and create an event there, or you can go to my homepage and create the event there as well. So I would actually create an event and do it sometime in the future, just so you can get a handle on feeling comfortable with creating those events.
Brian, we have a couple of questions.
Okay.
Just to kind of go back. We've got Diana asked, what are your thoughts on hashtags with LinkedIn? That's one of the questions. And then kind of along those lines as well, is like, do you comment before or after you repost? So if you're commenting on someone's page, but you're sharing an article, do you comment after or before that?
Well, so if it's okay, so that's couple different answers I can give based on the thought process and identifying that. First is, if I just want to be first to the party and get my like and comment in, I'm not going to commit to anything saying that I read the article. I'm going to say, thanks for sharing, I look forward to reading it, right? Or this sounds amazing, can't wait to read it, right? And if I've read the article, then I would reshare it and say, just finished reading this article on the 5 ways to get your house ready for sale. Really great tips. Thank you, Dia from Rock Title. Right, and I would share that, and I would hashtag Rock Title, hashtag Arizona, hashtag real estate, hashtag, etc. Right, and there's no rule. I mean, I'm not a social media expert when it comes to everything outside of LinkedIn, especially hashtags. But you know, I've seen people put 50 hashtags. I've seen people put 3 hashtags. It's really personal preference. And I don't think there's a quote hashtag police that's going to call you and say, you know, I really think you're really abusing the amount of hashtags in your post. So my sense is that why not go, if you have 50 hashtags, then put them in, because all it's going to do is put you in 50 different more search results, right? So if someone's offended by your hashtags, I really think there's a lot more bigger, or there's more problems to be concerned about than how many hashtags we put. So, but what that does is if I go here and I search the hashtag, right, that's what's going to happen. So hashtag real estate, it's going to give me everything up to the minute on LinkedIn with any content that has the word hashtag real estate, right? So there's hashtag real estate. I'm nearing the end of my month, just because I told you everyone about when you do too many searches, at some point they're going to start limiting what you can see. But again, I search 24/7 all day, right? And I haven't even exhausted it yet. Now they're telling me, okay, you're getting really close, so we're not going to give you everything that's out there. But either way, you're going to see what's trending in those hashtags. So we'll do hashtag Arizona. And if it's okay, I actually have a new tool that's not LinkedIn related that people might find interesting. So if you've ever wanted to get deeper into the hashtag, there's a website. It's called TWBS. This is a sidebar, I apologize, but I think it's going to be informative for, so here's where you can register a hashtag. So this is like the pre.com days. Now you can actually be an owner of an hashtag. And you'd be surprised how many people are not indexed to a hashtag. So let's say I create a movement, right? And it's hashtag stop LinkedIn spam. And I want everybody to know that, hey, that was my idea, right? I created that, right? I would go to this website, spend $9 and become the owner of that hashtag. Now, can I guarantee it's going to really, propel your career with this hashtag? Are you going to be able to resell it? I don't know, but for $9, it's worth, owning the fact that you say, hey, that's I own that hashtag. So check it out. I don't promote, I'm not affiliated with this company whatsoever, but I thought it was a cool concept that you could actually reserve a hashtag. Okay. Back to the articles. Any questions on the articles? It's, again, just source existing content and play around with the format. Don't hit publish unless you want it to be published. Just kind of save them as a draft to start loading up your content. But remember, get 52 pieces of content and you've got your entire marketing year done on LinkedIn as far as articles go. So even if you just post once a week, you'll still have some success. All right, we're going to go back to the homepage. So anything in the chat that I can answer regarding the hashtags?
Just what your thoughts were on them. So I appreciate that.
Okay. Yeah. So again, so spend some time in the home feed, start a post, mix up your posts. A lot of this stuff is, is some basic, social media 101. LinkedIn is no different than the other platforms as far as, posting and commenting and doing that. Just differences. You can write articles and you get rewarded more if you write an article because you are contributing information and you're educating people about a particular topic. So always have that in mind. What you don't want to do is be selling, right? If you're interested in buying or selling, we can do that every once in a while, just let people know, but always talk about, how you can help, people or what's happening in the market. Market updates are great. If you have market updates, people always like to know what's happening. So that's, that's good resources there. So, again, scroll through and then see, I can hit like. So for Sean, just kind of go through. So, all right, so that's that. Now, the other thing is when we talked about, commenting and liking, we also talked about groups. So you can jump into groups and like and comments. You can also share in groups. So if I have a particular article, or the scenario I get a lot of times is, Brian, I have this unique property and it's really best suited for someone that owns a horse farm, or it's really best suited for a musician, or it's best suited for someone who is, needs, access to, the ocean, or either way, there's always a feature benefit with a property. But if we can match that feature benefit with the owner and join some groups. So case in point, let's go with a tennis court. If you have a property with a tennis court, why not go ahead and search tennis on LinkedIn? And then I'm going to go into groups once that loads, and I'm going to see how many groups are related to tennis. There's 12,000 tennis fans on LinkedIn, right? So I might just join that group just to get that home sold, right? Because maybe that's my last resort, but I don't know where else to go. I can go into the tennis fans group and say, hey, everybody, I'm a realtor here in Scottsdale, Arizona. We have this amazing property with 2 tennis courts, clay, this and this, and it goes into the details of the court. Put a bunch of pictures, wondering if anybody out there knows someone that might be interested in this home. Now that's a great way to at least keep your seller happy, right? And they say, hey, it's not moving. What else can we do? Well, I can go on LinkedIn because it's a very unique property because of this feature, right? Or maybe we go into swimming because there's a pool there that's Olympic size, or any feature benefit, but there's going to be a group associated with that feature benefit on LinkedIn. So it doesn't hurt to go in there. And if the group owner slaps your wrist because you posted and it wasn't deemed, content for the group, I mean, that's okay. How many of us make cold calls to people during dinner on the weekends, right? So I think we're used to a little bit of someone saying, hey, we don't want that kind of posting, but we're really not selling. We're really asking, is anyone in this group interested in owning a home with a tennis court? Because we know one thing for sure, you like to play tennis because you joined a group on LinkedIn. So again, it may not be your style, but I'm always looking for other ways to market a property. Or maybe you actually do play tennis and you join the group, and then you're a realtor and you have a listing with a tennis court. So again, put information out there as well. We talked about, sports teams, right? Maybe you have let's say you're a San Diego Padres fan, right? And you want to go to San Diego Padres. And I'm looking for groups. There may not be a group, right? Well, there's a group, but there's only 331 members, right? Maybe that'll change this season. Perhaps we'll see how they do. But regardless, I can go into this and say new listing, downtown Gaslamp, San Diego, 2-bedroom condo right next to the Padres Stadium. Any of you Padre fans interested in walking to the game this year? Again, that's 331 opportunities. And again, each person in that network knows probably 500 people, right? So we probably amplified our posts for a downtown condo right next to the ballpark in San Diego to 15,000 people. So really get creative when you're looking at ways to leverage LinkedIn, even for feature benefits of a property, to join those groups. Okay, so now you want to also post in those groups. One of the groups, for instance, I had pulled up is this group here. This group, a lot of people are in this group that I'm connected to, right? I have 1,200 people in my network that are in the same group. So that's a pretty good indicator that if I were to post, everyone in my network would see it, but then I would go post in this group and they would see me there too. So I'm getting all of these double hits. And this is all about, it says real estate networking group, right? Investor strategies. And then I could say, I have a property in Phoenix, Arizona that's been on the market for 90 days with a cracked slab. Does anyone have any ideas for helping me move this property? Question mark. That just went out to almost 600,000 people. Where can you get a listing, in front of that many people for 30 seconds of your time? Now, I don't know the return. I can't measure the return. I can't measure the return of an email marketing campaign, Facebook ads, right? All of those things we spend money on. But I know at least we can get a direct result if someone comments or contacts us, say, hey, I saw your post in the group. I can help you with that problem. I know someone who's a contractor that can fix that. Either way, we're getting visibility. And that's really the game that I'm playing is how much visibility can I get in the least amount of time to make it look like I'm everywhere. So look at the groups you're in and ask yourself, if I'm posting to my network, is there anyone outside of that network that would find this information valuable, right? As long as we're not selling in a group, they're going to go ahead and let us, because they're looking for content too. These groups don't want to be static. They want to have people, in a community. So I'm not asking you to spend a lot of time in groups, but every so often go in, post, comment, see what's happening in that group. And the great thing about this group, as we talked about before, is that because I'm in this group, I now have direct access to almost 600,000 people on LinkedIn that I don't have to connect to. Because we're in the same group, I can message them directly, right? So if I click see all, it'll say what degrees. We have nobody in common if it's a 3rd degree. If it's a 2nd degree, it means we do have people in common. But I can literally message any single person in this group and not have to be connected to a 3rd degree. Otherwise, we'd have to send a connection request, hope they connect with us, right? And then follow up with the message and then see if we can get on the phone call. I have direct access now to the exact person I'm looking for. So, join those groups, even if it's just for, to get direct communication with other group members.
So Brian, Judy asked the question, can anyone click to see how many places or groups that you've posted an article, for instance, or is there any way to see what your activity is?
Yes, on your activity, yes. It's going to be when you click on your profile. But again, that's okay, because everyone who's in the social media space, including us, right, who are not, we're not paying attention to people saying, geez, she reposted 50 times the same article in her activity, because I don't think many people are really going to go and look at your activity unless I'm trying to research you as a potential prospect. Then I would do that. But otherwise, the noise is happening so fast that the only person that's going to see it is you, and it'll look like a lot, but it's really not. So the upside is that you posted to 50 groups with an average group size of 5,000 people, and it took you 45 minutes to reach. I can't do the math. Hopefully there's a loan officer on the call that can crunch those numbers for us, right? But regardless, it's a lot of people, right? So probably 1 million, somewhere upwards for an hour of your time, 45 minutes. It's definitely worth copy pasting. So if you want to see activity, you'll see it right here. And since we're here, I'm doing a little refresher since we've been, 4 weeks, a lot of information. When you see followers, right? I have 10,300. That's actual connections. So when you look at someone's profile and you're really curious, do they know 501 people or 5,000? It'll tell you right here. It's pretty accurate with the exact amount of followers to connections. So that's how you can tell how big someone's network is. And see how I said, thanks for the tips, right? That's what I just did in here. And then I actually commented and planted some herbs in the garden this weekend. Thank you, Karen. So this is everything I've done on LinkedIn since, the beginning of my profile. And then it would go under here. So you would see all the posts that you did in each group. You would say you posted in the real estate success group, you posted in the Arizona mastermind group, you posted in the Las Vegas downtown metro group. It'll have all your posts, but I don't think anyone's really going to go in and see that, but you can kind of see where all the things I've been, playing around with and posting or reposting. So but that was a great question. Let me get back to the homepage. Any other questions on that? Because we're covering, this is a pretty big chunk of information, right? It's not like you're just going to go out tomorrow and start your marketing campaign, but I want you to feel comfortable with where you can put your content and repurpose content. If you like to garden, go online, find a great tip, copy the link and say, found this article on gardening. I thought it was really great, and share it, right? So don't think too much about what you're posting. Just make sure that you are posting, and you can post twice a day, once a week, once a month. Either way, the more you put into it, the more you're going to get. And again, since I'm here, I'm just going to throw my friend Mike a like. All right. Now, one thing I like to do, which we talked about a little bit last week, is following those companies and picking a company that you have personal interest in. And I chose to pick Netflix today, right? Because in the last year, how many of us have been on Netflix? And let's just say maybe we spend a little too much time on Netflix, right? So, but Netflix has 6,787,000 followers, correct? Right? So their post was 3 hours ago, and they only got 23 comments on whatever the net zero new show is going to be, right? But imagine if you could start setting your watch to saying, when Netflix posts, I want to be the first person to comment, because a lot of people are paying attention to what's happening here. And then you could say, this looks like it's going to be a great show. I can't wait for it to air. That gets you out to 6 million people. So, posting, commenting, or you want to share it. Let's say you want to share it right here and say, I could say, anyone plan on watching this? I know I typed it wrong. I'm not going to post it, but I could send that out to my network, right? And then who knows, I might get a bunch of comments. Yes, I love that show. Or yes, I think it's a great concept. Now I know something about the person that comments. I can reach back out to them and say, hey, I got your comment. Didn't know you were a fan of documentaries. Me too. What's your favorite? Can you recommend any other good shows on Netflix to watch? What a better way to call someone on a quote business networking site, right? To say, hey, I saw you on Netflix, loved your comment, let's connect. What else do you recommend for good shows to watch? Pretty easy, right? So again, look at all of these. Is binge watching bad for the planet? I don't know, but 15 people commented on that out of 6 million, right? So have some fun. If you haven't figured out, I don't take it too seriously, because I know at the end of the day, when you're building business relationships, we really want to have something in common other than, the fact that we can do a transaction. So, is there anything else out there? Are there other interests that can give you insights to, to people what they like and how can I connect with them on LinkedIn versus I'm a realtor on LinkedIn and would love to know if you're looking to buy or sell, or I'm a realtor on LinkedIn and I'm looking to see if your company needs relocation services or things like that. So everybody's doing that. And you may have some success, but that becomes a high numbers game. This is more calculated. It's more personal, and it's going to get you real conversations with strangers who could become clients in the next 6 to 12 months, if not sooner, depending on the need, right? So follow companies that you like, get involved in commenting and liking on that. And we have obviously, we have Rock here, then Rock Agency. Let me go back to my other tab here. One other thing I wanted to cover, questions, comments, anybody else? I know you're monitoring, but I just want to make sure if there's anything else I can talk to about the the posting.
So Lynn asked the question, does the content we add to our LinkedIn account help with our positioning on Google and where we have our websites? That's one of them.
Okay, so what I've been told, and I talk to a lot of social media marketers, and that I'm not in that space, but I do have friends in that space, and they're telling me, again, this is their word, is that the Google keyword search engine and all of that optimization is going away, right? They're doing new algorithms, right? So to answer your question is, the Google might be changing the way it rewards people for keywording. LinkedIn will index, is not indexing content on Google, right? So if your post on LinkedIn, it's just really on LinkedIn for people searching on LinkedIn. But I think LinkedIn has 600 million users, right? So if you're going to spend an extra hour a week, even just, reposting, you're not going to get the SEO, but you're going to get the SEO on LinkedIn, right? Which is why you're right within the space. Same thing with the profile. So, but that's a great question too.
Yeah. And then Rosie asked, did I understand that you can take 50 blogs and set it up to post once a week like you can on Facebook?
You can set it, you can front load it, but you physically have to post it, right? There's no automation for you to do that, but you could load it by the date, make sure you go in where it says write an article, and then publish that post, and then the next week publish your next post. So, and then of course repost in the groups that you want it to. So, but it can't be automated. That's why people stay away from LinkedIn, because it takes more work, right? But again, it's the quality of the chocolate, right? Do I want to, or sourcing organic food versus buying prepackaged food, right? It's like, do we, what's the risk reward and what the time and the quality of the lead for the effort? And I think this is the best use, is to really have a good quality product when you're using it on LinkedIn. So one of the things I always tell people is when you're looking at your invitations, a lot of you may have a lot stacked up, but I want you to look at the manage, because if you send too many invitations and you don't get enough responses, it's going to work against you, right? So there's like a fine line of like how many outstanding connection requests you have versus how many people are accepting. So I run every month, I go ahead and click my manage, and then I go back to my sent. Right, I have 2 inbound invitations, and then I go all the way back. So 2 months ago, only because it's Chris Gardner, and I want to just prove a point that you can, he still hasn't responded yet, but I'm waiting. So Chris is the guy from The Pursuit of Happiness. But the point is, you can find people on LinkedIn that may not be accessible, but he's probably not checking it. It might be someone in his organization who monitors, or he's not using LinkedIn at all, but that's okay. So I'm letting it hang out there. But Kathy was introduced to me by my friend Carl, but it was a month ago. So I'm actually going to withdraw the invitation, because if it's a month,
you're writing
it's a
clear
month
and
old,
concise, no matter where you are. With
where's
Grammarly,
that? Okay, someone's checking their spelling. So I don't have Grammarly. So anyways, managing your invitation, if it's over a month, it tells me 2 things. 1, they're not interested in connecting with me. 2, they're just not on LinkedIn. And I don't want to clog up my system of sent invitations for that ratio. So what I'll do is I'll withdraw them. But before I withdraw my invitations, this is a great exercise to go back 3 months, find out who you sent a connection request to, wonder why you wanted to connect with that person, find them on Google and give them a call. So it sounds something like this, and I'm always using Dia as my role play script person here, but I would say, hi Dia, this is Brian Rachel. Hi, how can I help you? Well, I actually was going through my sent invitations on LinkedIn, and it looks like I had sent you a connection request about 3 months ago. Then I realized that you may not be on LinkedIn as much as I am, and I really wanted to get a hold of you because I was interested in your product or service. And she may say, I'm really busy, or you're right, I never check LinkedIn. Well, I'm glad I called because I wanted to, before I withdrew the invitation, I wanted to at least see if I could have a quick call with you and possibly set up a meeting or a Zoom in the future to learn more about XYZ. So she may work, it may not, but I don't consider that a cold call, right? That's not as a, buying or selling, script call, or an expired listing call, or for sale by owner call. That's just a, hey, I sent you an invitation. You may not, and she's like, yeah, you're right, I never use it. Okay, good, I'm glad I called then. I'm glad I got you. And that, all I cared about was getting in front of you in the first place. So use old sent invitations as another reason to call people. And if we can't find them on the internet, then there has to be a problem, because there's so many index sites out there with people's contact information, or call them at work if you have to. But there's always a way to get to somebody. All right. Any questions on that, or comments about, managing your sent invitations?
Well, I kind of have a question on some of that. Like, how do you feel about like somebody that doesn't actually have a photo? Like you might be searching for somebody. I kind of assume that they're just not active on LinkedIn if they haven't taken the time to do that. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's a tricky slope, because some people, when you accept their invitation, will have a picture. So there are settings in your profile, in your LinkedIn settings, like under your that you cannot, your picture is not visible to the entire network. But once you're connected, it's only visible to connections. So I could have a stealth photo, and all of a sudden I ignore it because I think it's not a real person. But the truth was that person didn't want their picture out there to anyone outside of their immediate network. So yeah, and that's going to be in your settings, right? So when you go, let's go here. Since we're here, we go to settings and privacy. Actually, I take that back. We're going to go in a different way. It's a little bit complicated, so we'll go ahead and just go through that. Because if you want to make sure that you're not showing up that way, or you want to take your picture off as a public, you're going to have to click on your profile. I got to close a few tabs here. So remember where we edited the contact info and there was the opportunity to have your public URL? We could change it because some of you had numbers. It was like 6732Z, right? So we did that by clicking on your profile. I'm going to close out a few more of these so we can speed this up. So normally I have the tabs open, but that one wasn't ready for that one. So we're going to have to wait for the slower speed. All right. So we're going to go on contact info. Then we're going to edit that contact info for the public URL. Okay. So then I'm going to edit here. And then it's going to take me to my LinkedIn URL, which I'll click on. And we eventually will see all of the public settings. So this will show you what your profile looks like to outside people kind of just browsing through. So here's where we changed our name and we got rid of those numbers, and maybe we put in, Brian sells San Diego or some kind of catchphrase. But see your visibility right here, your profile visibility, public name. See, if I put in profile photo, only first degree connections can see my photo here. But right here, I have it listed as public. You can have all LinkedIn members or just your network, or only first degree. So that would be second degree connection. So you can decide what you want people to see. And I have everything showing here. But you can say, hey, I don't want people to see my past experience. I don't want them to see my courses, right? So that's where you go. It's a long way to get there, which is why it's tough to really show people you know, just, it's not just it's not an easy click. You have to search for it, but go to contact info, edit, click on your custom URL, and you'll see your visibility down here. So hopefully with the recording, you can kind of go back and play around with that if you didn't catch that in real time. All right. So good. We have, again, groups. Want to post in groups. You want to follow companies and comment and like, and make sure you're engaging with people with similar interests. And then the last thing, which really isn't the last thing, but it is for today, it's going to be recommendations. So one of the things about LinkedIn is, you know, is recommendations. Now there's a couple things about them. We'll go to my profile here. Is one, take a look at what, do I have any? Okay. And then two, if I have any, are they recent? Right. So if you're in real estate, I would hope to see that you know, you probably have reviews on different sites, but if we can get them onto LinkedIn and find a way for people to have them indexed there, it's going to give you much more exposure too, because it's going to be current. I can't tell you how many times I go on, and the last recommendation was in 2007. So does that, so if I'm only strictly using LinkedIn and I don't know about Google reviews, or I don't know about Yelp or Zillow or any of these sites, how do I know that you have 59, you know, testimonials from clients? To me, you have one, and it was from, you know, 13, 14 years ago. So how active are you, or how good? Again, I'm not making judgment. I'm just saying risk management when it comes to that. So if you can get something that says March 2021, that would be ideal. And there's probably people that have written your recommendation, just not on LinkedIn. So what I do is I'll go to the Google review or to the Yelp review, I'll copy it, and then I'll paste and request a recommendation. So I'm gonna have to request a recommendation from, so let's just find, we'll pull up Jason, who I just connected with. Now, if you want to get a recommendation, you go to the person's profile and you click the more button, and it drops down. It says request recommendation, or I can recommend Jason. So I'm going to request a recommendation. It's going to ask you, okay, Jason was a client. What position did I have? Then it's going to take me to the next frame, which is, hi, Jason, could you write me a recommendation? Now we all know how I feel about, you know, standard LinkedIn, you know, here, just send it. I'm not going to do that, right? So I would say, hope you are doing well. You had given me this recommendation several years ago on Yelp. Would you mind copy and pasting and sending back, as I am looking to expand my LinkedIn profile? And of course, I always assume the close. Thanks in advance for your help. And then I would put here, here's the cut and paste, like that's his testimonial. All he has to do is copy that and send it back to me. So make it really easy for them. So if you have all of those testimonials, see what you can, and again, you may not get 100%, but you're going to get recent testimonials, right? Even if it was in 2007, now on LinkedIn, it's going to be 2021. So you have to do a little bit of legwork, right? You have to ask a lot to get a few, but those few are still going to be well worth it. And maybe you'll get everybody, because I mean, they did write you the recommendation, unless they want to take it back, right? But most people will say no problem, and they cut and paste and send it back. And before you know it, you have 10 current recommendations. And then people will say to you, well, you know, I'd love a reference list. Well, here's my list of people I've worked with, but also you can go on my LinkedIn profile and you'll see my most recent recommendations. And I would be happy to put you in touch with any of those people if you need further examples or questions of my work, right? So give to get, or start requesting the ones you've gotten in the past. So I'm going to discard that. But they're great ways to re-engage with people, especially past clients. Hey, it's been years. You may see something new on their LinkedIn profile because of this exercise, and, you know, give you some more insights. So always look to see what else can I learn from what I'm looking at. Now, the other last factor about recommendations is that if someone is a big influencer and you want to be associated or you want to capture their audience in some, you know, some manner, let's just take Chris Gardner, since he won't answer me right now. So we'll do Chris Gardner, not Gradner. We'll see if he has any recommendations. And I can't type. Chris Gardner, pursuits. He's not showing up. So let's go any other, we like Elon, let's go Elon Musk. And yeah, I'm not getting, maybe he doesn't have a profile. So I'll make it easy here. Let's go to, anyone have any celebrity or influencer that they follow that they want to take a look at?
Maybe like Tony Robbins or something.
Or
Yeah,
Tom
everyone,
Ferry.
and it was going to be everybody but Tony Robbins.
Oh,
was the one I
right,
was
right.
gonna-
Yeah, it's probably a million of them, right?
Richard Branson.
Okay. Richard Branson. There he is. He's a third-degree connection, so I don't have anybody in common with Richard. But so he has 18,000 followers. So I could follow him and get his updates, right, and comments. And we'll see if he's even put any attention into his LinkedIn, which he hasn't, right? So that goes to tell you that he doesn't have a very strong presence. But let's look at this person here. She has 2 million followers, so she's obviously doing something. I don't know her, but we'll find out. And let's go down to her profile. I'm looking to see if she has any recommendations. Okay, so perfect example. She hasn't received any recommendations. She's given one. The last time she was recommended was August 4th, 2015. Not a big deal. However, the big deal is, what if I was connected to Gretchen, right, who has 2 million followers, and I randomly decided to write a recommendation to her? I said, hi, Gretchen, your work has truly inspired me. I'm a really big fan, and thank you for all your contributions in the XYZ industry. Keep up the good work. What do you think the chances are of her saying, oh, that was a nice, I'll accept that and add it to my profile? The last time, no one's even recommended her, right? And the last time she was 2015. So what that tells me is, if she were to accept my recommendation, which was genuine, I would hang out on her profile for the next 5 years. With 2 million people viewing her profile, everyone right now is looking at Mike Courtney, right? Mike's been here for how many, for 6 years, right? No one else has pushed him down. So if you find people that are high influencers, right? Someone said Tom Ferry. So again, I don't know if that's a leverage, a recommendation, but I mean, everything being equal with human beings, right? If I wrote you a really nice recommendation of how much I admired your work, I might, or the person managing the account might say, sure, I'll add that to my profile. And I literally am getting real estate on high profile people. So Tom Ferry has 46,000 followers, pretty good amount, right? And now he's received 8, and the last one was in 2019. So he's due for a recommendation. So if you say, hi, Tom, really have appreciated working with you. You've really been an influence on my career. Thank you so much for my success. I think he's going to say yes and put that on his profile, and then you'll be here, right? And you'll be here for 2 more years. So look at recommendations, not only to boost your visibility, but also to hang out on other people's profiles. And again, I haven't found too many people that don't like being told that they've done a good job, or that they're really doing, influential things and things like that. So that's another way to leverage recommendations. Plus, probably a lot of you have Zillow reviews, and those people probably have a LinkedIn account, and you might find out you're not even connected to those people. So before we even ask a recommendation, we got to make sure that our entire network is dialed into LinkedIn before we can send them a recommendation request. We have to be connected. So that kind of really cinches up a lot of the training what we've done over the past couple of weeks. Again, I would consider this a crash course, right? We're talking 4 hours in 16 years, right? So there's a lot of other things, especially when you really drill down to your personality, your interests, your likes, your style. There's going to be a lot of different things about people. But as far as, looking at it and through a different lens, that was my entire goal in this class, is that, yes, you can find a job on LinkedIn. Yes, you can market to people, but it's really about, the how to win friends and influence people approach. And people are very open to all of these things. Like I see Matt, because he's in my screen, he's a Cubs fan, and he can join the Cubs fan group on LinkedIn and start networking with everyone in his area that are Cubs fans. And, I'll shout out because I know what it's like to be one of those fans, being a Red Sox guy. So yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things in common on LinkedIn, just in general. Facebook has those groups, but it's not B2B. And don't worry about your profile. Like, just get in, make sure you have a decent summary, your contact information, a few little highlights, but you don't have to get crazy about that, because if you're making genuine connection requests, people aren't going to look at your profile and make a judgment about with that. They're going to, based on what they hear and why you want to reach out to them. So, and then lastly, you can connect with somebody after you've had a phone call. So you can always do the reverse. You can say, "Hi, Lynn, I saw you on LinkedIn. I see you're from San Diego, and that you're you're a Richard Branson fan as well. I thought I'd give you a quick call before I sent you a connection request, because I wasn't sure what your policy is on who you accept and who you don't." And she might appreciate it that I took the call first before I even sent her a connection request. So it just depends on how badly do I want to connect with that person. Whereas the other people are just randomly connecting with people, no message, no nothing, and saying really empty things. And like I get them all day long. I think I even just got one today. Hey, let's mutually expand our network. I'd love to work with you. There's no meat there, right? I believe we could benefit from each other. Okay. So I'm just going to ignore that, right? And it's nothing, but at least he wrote a message. The other person who just sent me no message, I don't even accept those, right? So at least have some type of protocol for your criteria of who you want in your network, because chances are, if I accept both of these, I can almost guarantee in a minute I'm going to get a sales pitch and a link. And then for the next 5 weeks, I'm going to get more junk that clogs up my inbox, which is why I put stop LinkedIn spam, because this is not an email marketing site. We're trying to do business. We're trying to do it fast. And every time we put a message into someone's box, it requires us, we can't really block them. So we'll have to remove them. But I usually know it's coming if it's a generic request or no request. I just say, it's not even worth it to me to connect anymore. So keep it clean with your network. And then if people are spamming you, just remove them as a connection. And if you hit the I don't know more than 3 times, Keith will lose his LinkedIn privileges. I'm not going to do that today, right? Because at least he tried with a message, and I'm just going to hit ignore. So I'm not going to say I don't know her. But that's how you can lose your account, by just randomly connecting with enough people. And some people are very critical about who they let in, and you could lose your account. So just, be forewarned. Don't go crazy with the connection requests unless you have a good message or the person. Questions?
So there was a question, but I do want to make one little comment about what you're talking about with connections. And I think, like, in our industry in real estate, it's very common that you might meet somebody and have a brief conversation with them, so you face to face, and then to come back and make sure that you solidify that connection that you just made using LinkedIn and some of the other social platforms. So it's kind of like acknowledgement of the fact that you made a connection. So when you're out and about, a lot of times if I meet with you briefly day or maybe at a networking event, I'll remember your name and then I'll go seek you out and say something about, the fact that we met. So it helps to solidify the relationship to go a little farther. So you can use it for that as well. And then there was a question about, did you say to put our hobbies under the project tab?
Yes, yeah, that header under the project tab would say personal interests, or you could even make it hobbies if you wanted to. It's really up to you. We just want to get it into the profile. There's not a place for it, so we created our own space. So you could just go with projects, title the project hobbies, and put it in the description. Now, and then just in speaking, I know we may go over a minute, hopefully not, but to your point, Dia, when I was out, when we actually went to networking events, I had the LinkedIn mobile, right? So I would always say, Dia, great to meet you. I'd pull my phone out, are you on LinkedIn? And I would hold it, and they'd say yes. And I would go, is this you? Yes. And I would send them a connection request right then and there, rather than having to go home, take the cards out of my wallet in my pocket, in my side jacket, and throw them on there, then go on LinkedIn. I just did it off the app and say, are you on LinkedIn? Is this you? Yes, great. Let's get connected now. And then you don't even have to worry about the follow-up. So it's 100% that you're going to connect with them. So that was a good strategy when it was, but it'll come back, right? So, but again, I know we're going to hit that last minute. So everyone, again, reach out to me here and there, send me messages on LinkedIn. Happy to endorse people. Any feedback is welcome as far as that goes. And like I said, just keep spending a little bit of time. Again, I've been on it for a very long time, every single day, and I'm still learning. And they may change the platform next week. So I can never rest on my laurels knowing that these platforms change periodically and they're going to move some buttons around and take away things from. So again, it's a constant thing with LinkedIn, but it's not going away. I think Microsoft paid, was it $26 billion in 2016 to buy LinkedIn. So I have a feeling they're going to get their return on their investment. So keep having fun, keep prospecting, and you'll see me. You probably will laugh because like, oh, he's doing that trick, that like and comment trick, or he's endorsing me. He got my attention. So have some fun with it and realize that my goal is just to be seen, be visible, and if someone has a need, they'll find you. So any closing? Someone asked, I just see, is premium worth it? It really isn't. I mean, we've done everything on the free version. All it is gives you unlimited searches. It gives you a nice little shiny badge. Like, we show up, it has our company name, it says premium, but that really doesn't do much for you. And if you really want to have premium, you can buy the $29 business premium, still have the premium logo and a few bells and whistles, but I don't think Sales Navigator is worth it because you have to relearn LinkedIn. If everything I would have to give another 2-week class on how to integrate Sales Navigator with the regular LinkedIn. So you can definitely get around it so much with the free version. And if you are a veteran, there is a link where you can get a free year of LinkedIn Premium for being a veteran. So if you are a veteran on this call, let me know. I'll send you the link, and that way you can have the free version and try it out.
It looks like everybody is thrilled with your class. You even got one that said you are amazeballs. So that's good. I do want to let everyone know that if you did miss the first 3 parts to the series, please email me, dia@rocktitle.com, and I will go ahead and send you the links to those classes. We did record them. They'll be sitting out on Zoom as long as Zoom will allow them to sit there, because they only give you so many days in holding the recording, 30 or 60 days, I don't even know. But I will reserve them and save them up to Google Docs. So if you in 30 days, if you haven't accessed it yet, and just let me know again and we'll send you the new link. So thank you, Brian. It was awesome. So yes.
My pleasure. Yeah, a lot of fun, as you can tell. I really enjoy it. I don't deviate. I'm not going to leave LinkedIn for the next shiny object. I'm just going to stay, pick my pony and do this. Facebook, great. All those things are great. But if you can start with LinkedIn as your home base and then expand from there, you're going to have a winning combination, because it's just all about the numbers. Then you're really covering a lot of ground. So thanks everybody for showing up each week.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you so
Take care,
much.
guys.
Yeah.
Welcome.
Have a great holiday, Easter holiday. Thank you.
Thank you.